Greed. This insatiable desire for wealth and material possessions. It is dictated as a relentless hunger that can never be satisfied. It blinds individuals to the needs of others and often leads to destructive consequences. Always asking for something in return, expecting compensation in which can never truly be obtained. Similarly to gluttony, the sin of greed can never be satisfied. It differs, however, from the inherent jealousy the person has to another. This leads to pushing people around you away and pursuing the never-ending battle, basing your life on monetary value rather than the people and experiences around you, no matter the consequences. The 7 deadly sins are based on Christianity, but unlike the 10 commandments that set a strict guide for its followers, the sins are more like distasteful personality traits rather than rules. These 7 deadly sins are looked down upon and serve as a warning how not to live through your life. Wrath. It's a force that can consume one's rationality, leading to the violence and harm onto others. Often seen as rage, wrath differs with the deliberate intention to harm. The fury that engulfs the person leads to the downfall of others, resulting in violence, assault, and even murders. Wrath not only damages relationships, but also has the power to unleash chaos onto both a personal and societal level, giving in to temptation and ignoring oneself and those around them, engulfing a person into a rampage. Sloth, the sin of laziness and apathy. Sloth represents the steady erosion of ambition. Beyond laziness, sloth also has an innate attribute of neglect towards others, and unlike the other sins, a neglect towards oneself. Unlike the other 7 deadly sins, which are sins committing immortality, sloth is a sin of omitting responsibilities, leaving individuals trapped in a cycle of inaction. Sloth is often seen as a foundation of many of the other sins, as the innate neglect influences negative attributes of all the other 7 deadly sins. Envy is the bitter resentment towards others' success and possessions, characterized by an insatiable desire like greed and lust, fostering a toxic environment of rivalry and bitterness. Envy has 3 stages. During the first stage, the envious person attempts to lower another's reputation. In the middle stage, the envious person receives either joy at another person's misfortune or grief at another's prosperity. And the third stage is the hatred, because sorrow causes hatred. Philosophers believe that envy is one of the most potent causes of unhappiness, bringing sorrow to committers of envy, while giving them the urge to inflict pain upon others. Lust is the overpowering desire for sensual pleasure. While passion is natural and sustainable, unbridled, insatiable lust can lead to destructive behaviors and the objectification of others. It blurs the lines between love and obsession. It is generally seen as the least egregious sin by many of the theologians and philosophers. Gluttony, the excessive indulgence, usually associated with overeating and overconsumption. Its importance in history was often seen as gorging of the prosperous, which would leave the ones in need without anything. Beyond the physical realm, it extends to insatiable appetite for more power, more attention, more everything. What one has isn't ever enough, and they must continue to eat away at others to quench their hunger that will and can't be satisfied. Pride. Finally, we arrive at the 7th deadly sin. Not to be confused with healthy self-esteem, pride here refers to the excessive belief in one's ability and importance. It is considered the original and the worst of the 7 deadly sins, the mother of all sins, and has been deemed the devil's most essential trait. It's even seen as the anti-God state. The position in which the ego and the self are directly opposed is what pride is. It's the sin that blinds individuals of their flaws, making self-improvement nearly impossible, pushing others down just to not let themselves fall. One of the trickiest of the sins, since innate human desire looks to put oneself first. And while this is perfectly natural, an embellishment of this pride tricks us into detaching ourselves from reality and the ones around us. These 7 deadly sins serve as cautionary tales, reminders that the pursuit of one virtue alone is a lifelong journey. As we navigate the complexities of our own human nature, may we learn from these timeless lessons and strive for a life guided by wisdom, compassion, and humility. Or not. After all, these are more like suggestions, as many of these sins are committed by many of us on a near daily basis, While many of these represent a very specific and committed obsession of a person, we do see it from time to time in people today. Greedy businessmen, even murderous rampages, detrimental laziness, wanting to live your life through others, obsessing over people, overeating and wasting, or just people worrying about how others see them. Maybe the 7 sins are just an old religious ideology. Or maybe not. After all, I'm just here learning like you.